Now, we know the Hart family, Sarah and Jennifer, who were married, plus their 6 adopted children, all moved from West Lynn to this home in northern Clark County near Woodland about 10 months ago, according to neighbors. Bruce and Dana DeKalb live near the Harts and say one of the couple's children tried to run away last fall. And more recently, another child kept coming over to their house asking for food, eventually several times a day. They tell us they called Washington State's Child Protective Services. The DeKalbs say a CPS person visited the home Friday, but no one answered the door. When that worker left, the DeKalbs tell us the entire family came out of the house, quickly loaded up into their SUV, and took off, apparently so fast they may have partially knocked down a brick wall supporting the home's driveway. Dana DeKalb believes the children reached out to her for help for some reason.
Jennifer Jean Hart was born on June 4, 1979, in Huron, South Dakota, a town of about 13,000 people. She grew up with her parents and 2 brothers until they divorced when she was 12. She decided to stay with her mom. After graduating in 1997, she enrolled at Augustana University in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. In 1999, she transferred to Northern State University where she majored in elementary education. That's where she met Sarah Gengler. Sarah Margaret Gengler was born on April 8, 1979, in Big Stone City, South Dakota, a town of around 600 people. She grew up with her parents and 3 other siblings. Her father worked as a hardware salesman while her mom worked at a cheese factory. They all eventually moved to Minnesota, where she graduated high school. She then enrolled at the University of Minnesota, Twin Cities, but after just 1 semester, she transferred to Northern State University, majoring in elementary education, the same as Jennifer. The 2 began dating shortly after Jennifer arrived on campus. They kept their relationship a secret in the beginning, introducing themselves as friends or roommates to their associates, but by 2002, the couple had come out as lovers. Jennifer remarked that she was very hurt that she lost so many friends, because homosexuality was not accepted in South Dakota at the time. Sarah graduated in the spring of 2002, but Jennifer dropped out that same year. In early 2004, the couple bought a 2-story house in Alexandria, Minnesota, and that summer, they adopted a 15-year-old African-American girl. She stayed with the Harts for about 9 months until the spring of 2005. One day, Jennifer and Amber dropped her off at her counseling session, but once there, her counselor informed her that another family would be picking her up. The 15-year-old said Jennifer and Sarah were very nice to her, and she never experienced any type of abuse from them, so she was very devastated when they abandoned her. On March 4, 2006, the Harts were allowed to adopt 3 more children, Marcus, Abigail, and Hannah, all biological siblings. Then, in June of 2008, they adopted Devontae, Jeremiah, and Sierra, also all biological siblings. All 6 children were transported from the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, originating from Houston. Their biological mothers lost custody of them because of alleged substance abuse. The family began to post pictures on social media of themselves seemingly happy with warm messages of peace and love, and hugs. In the fall of 2008, not long after school began, a teacher noticed that Hannah, 6 at the time, had a bruise on her forearm. When questioned by a social worker, Hannah said that Jennifer hit her with a belt, causing the bruise. School officials then reported that they believed that Hannah was having, quote, food issues, saying they witnessed her eating out of trash cans and off the floor. When they questioned Jennifer about the abuse, she said Hannah fell down the stairs a few days prior, and that she likes to play the, quote, food card when she gets in trouble. The authorities did nothing. The following year, in 2009, Jennifer and Sarah got married in Connecticut. In 2010, Abigail, then 6 years old, complained to her teacher that she had owies on her stomach. The teacher lifted her shirt to find the child covered in bruises on her stomach and back. Abigail explained that Jennifer got mad at her after she dropped a penny on the ground. She said Jennifer took her into the bathroom, put her head in the sink, and then ran cold water over her. She then punched her several times with a closed fist. When Jennifer and Sarah were again confronted with abuse allegations, Sarah took the blame. She said it was her to hit Abigail, not Jennifer. She admitted that she was upset with the little girl for lying, and admitted that she did bend Abigail over the bathtub, but all she did was spank her on the butt. She claimed Abigail was just confused about who it was that had bruised her so badly. Sarah was arrested and charged with domestic assault, and in April of 2011, she pled guilty. She received a 90-day suspended sentence, a $300 fine, 1 year of community service, and 1 year of probation. Days later, the couple withdrew all their kids from public school, but never turned in the required homeschooling forms. Not everyone in their community drank the Kool-Aid. A lot of people started to question why the Hart children looked so malnourished and very small for their age. More anonymous reports of suspected abuse were called to the police. The couple blamed the accusations on their community's intolerance of a white lesbian couple raising 6 African American children. To their point, there were more than 30 calls placed to the police about a neighbor who admittedly harassed them about their sexuality. So, after Sarah completed her probation, they packed up and moved to West Linn, Oregon, in 2013. Within a few days of arriving in the Portland suburb, a local newspaper snapped a picture of Devontae dancing in public and published it. The neighbors in West Linn stated that Sarah, who seemed nice but guarded, was the spokesperson for the family. They rarely ever saw Jennifer. She was the stay-at-home parent, while Sarah worked as an assistant manager for Kohl's, making about $45,000 per year. The couple was also receiving almost $3,000 a month in adoption assistance and Social Security. The Oregon authorities were informed about the allegations of abuse from Minnesota and launched their own investigation. They interviewed each family member individually on July 19, 2013. They also interviewed their friends. Although the kids said everything was fine, friends admitted that the women imposed strict and strange rules on the kids, claiming that they had to raise their hand to speak and were punished for laughing at the dinner table. They said that the kids were given the bare minimum amount of food, like spitting slices of pizza. But, despite the glaring evidence, Child Protective Services was, quote, unable to determine if Jennifer and Sarah were guilty of neglecting the children.
This is a place for all relations, to bring celebration to meditation, giving thanks for all creation. We are so provided for, we are so provided for, we are so provided for, we are so provided for. The blessings I received, how to live and receive.
In 2014, during the Mike Brown protests, a 12-year-old Devontae was photographed in tears hugging a white police officer. The photo went viral, and he and his family became locally famous overnight.
Planting the seeds of a revolution. It's not a fake thing. It's not just a young people thing. It's what everyone that I know, a lot of my friends and circle of friends and family, this is what we've been waiting for.
But, with the fame came more scrutiny. Again, Jennifer and Sarah were accused of child abuse on their social media pages. Many pointed out that the kids looked malnourished. Others just simply asked, why would a parent have such young children in the middle of a protest? Jennifer soon claimed that they were being stalked and receiving hate mail. So, in early 2017, the Harts moved again, purchasing a $375,000 home, on 2 acres, in Woodland, Washington. On March 23, 2017, the Harts' neighbors, Dana and Bruce DeKalb, reported that at around 1:30 a.m., Hannah jumped from her second-floor window and raced to their house to beg for food. She cried to them, quote, "Don't make me go back. They're racists, and they abuse us." The couple called the Harts over. By the time they got there, Hannah was trembling behind a dresser. Jennifer made Hannah apologize to them and explain she's had a rough week. She then told them that Hannah was a drug baby and that her mother was bipolar. The same morning, Hannah brought them an apology letter. Dana and Bruce, who had been sneaking the kids food for weeks, called Child Protective Services and made a report. In response, CPS went to the Hart home the same day, March 23, but no one answered. A business card was left in the door. They went back on the 26th and 27th. But, although their SUV was in the driveway, and the business card was gone, still, no one answered. In the early morning of March 20, 2017, neighbors reported seeing the Hart SUV leave the home for the last time. The family of 8 headed south to California.
And before the ruling today, we got the clearest picture yet of what happened during the crash that killed all 8 members of that family from Woodland. During today's hearing, multiple California investigators all concluded Jennifer Hart intentionally killed her family by driving off the cliff.
On here, 0 seconds, I'm going to round these numbers, 1 mile per hour, 2 seconds at 17 miles per hour, and then 3 seconds as the vehicle is coming off this berm at 20 miles per hour, and then you have 4, 4.5, and 5 seconds as the vehicle is falling from the cliff edge.
Timothy Roloff and the California Highway Patrol determined the Hart SUV went from standing still to gas pedal floor as Jennifer Hart sat behind the wheel, legally drunk.
We have the vehicle going from 34% throttle to 100% throttle, and there's no subsequent application of the brake. And during that time, you're going from idling, with the brake has been on, and now you're on the throttle, and the throttle is going to 100%. You're accelerating to 20 miles per hour as you head towards that cliff face. Our analysis of that data was that this was consistent with this being an intentional act.
Jennifer and Sarah, 38, along with Marcus, 19, Jeremiah, 14, and Abigail, 14, were discovered in the car. The skeletal remains of Sierra, 12, and Hannah, 16, washed up on a California beach. To this day, Devontae's remains have not been found, but he was declared legally dead. Rest in peace to all those children.